Welcome back to the series, guys. Hope you're doing really well and well done for completing the first two videos. If you are new to the series, guys, go back to the start, watch the first two videos. They take a bit of time. They are 25 minutes long-ish, so you might have to break it up. You might have to revisit it, but take the time, guys. I guarantee you, like I said on the first video, if you really grasp the lessons out of this, out of the series and the intentions behind it, I can't even imagine what impact it will make on you because it's completely changed my life. So I know it will if you really grasp the lessons that are on offer here in this series. So guys, this one is the hardest one. And when I say that, it's the most, to teach it properly, there's a lot of science behind it. There's a lot of information about it. So I'm going to do my best to explain the basics of this and just use some examples that hopefully make sense. But honestly, the best way to explain it, you're going to see like a really average diagram on your screen, and I'll talk you through it. But the whole, I guess, general basics of this video is about balance. And everyone's heard something along the lines of, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, that everything happens for a reason. Life is happening for you, not to you. Everyone's heard those very, I guess, positive thinky style of quotes, but they're very, very practical and they're very real, especially when you learn the science behind it. So we're not going to do too much science today. We're going to be a bit more practical. If you need more assistance with this, if it doesn't really make sense through this video, guys, reach out to me or whoever sent you this video, and we'll be able to explain it a little bit more detail for you, okay? So the concept of today, everything in life, and I mean everything and everything, always has positives and negatives. Life is not one-sided. Let me use an example. When you've pedestaled someone, when you've looked up to someone, all you do, you've seen all the positives, but none of the negatives. When you've fantasized someone, it's like someone when you first start dating someone, you get into the honeymoon period, everything's amazing. Their farts smell like roses. That's how amazing they are. Because what you're doing is you're seeing all the positives, but by doing that, you miss out on the negatives and you don't see the other side. You're seeing one side of things. It's like the same thing when you don't like someone, you say you hate someone, or you don't like someone very highly. All you see are the negatives, you don't see the positives. Everyone, everything is not one-sided. There's always positives and there's always negatives. Now, when you're really emotionally charged, that's when you will swing to side and you will miss some of the sides of it. You'll miss the other 50%. If you're only seeing positives and no negatives, you won't be able to make a rational decision. Same thing, if you're seeing all the negatives and none of the positives, you can't make a rational decision and things trigger you. You've heard of the term hindsight before. It's like, say something painful or something bad happened to you growing up and it was really painful when you went through it, but in hindsight, it might be a week, a month, 6 months, 6 years later, hindsight kicks in where something happens when you see the positives to that event and you say things like, I'm so happy that happened. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm so grateful that I went through that, because you saw the other side. Now, how do you bring hindsight closer? You learn to see both sides as fast as you can, literally in the moment. So I'm going to go through some examples. I'll share my screen for you guys. So again, pretty average diagrams that you're looking at right now. So essentially, guys, here's a diagram, and let's use that as emotions, or positives versus negatives. So again, you've got positive, you got negative, and you got neutral, where you can see equal sides. You can see positive and negative. So for example, say you're highly positive. Say it's like you're really excited about someone, or say again, you're in the honeymoon period, or say you pedestal someone. When you pedestal someone, you maximize their traits and you minimize your own. So you're seeing all of their upsides, you're seeing none of their downsides. Everyone has it. Myself, I've got some positive, I've definitely got a lot of negatives, and for every positive, it creates a negative. I like to use stress. Stress is a massive one for a lot of people. Most people use or see stress as a negative thing. Stress is not negative. It has negatives, it has positives. Like for me, stress is motivating. If I was to check how my businesses have gone, or how I've gone, or a situation, and I realize things aren't going as well as they can, a bit of stress comes into me, a bit of cortisol starts going around the body, some chemicals start going around the body, and it motivates me to go take action. So stress can motivate you. Now, stress has a lot of negatives as well. It has things like, it literally causes a lot of immune and health and nervous like issues with your body. So there's a lot of negatives to it as well. But there's just as many positives there are negatives to anything. Like anxiety is a huge one. A lot of clients that I work with this is they see anxiety as a bad thing. Anxiety is like they're completely to one side. They're completely positive, negative to it. They don't see the positive. So they get really triggered by it because again, there's a lot to teach here. So I don't want to go too off track today, but when you're really triggered by something, this can tie into trauma. This can tie into past experiences. This can come into judgment. When you're only seeing one side, you're missing the other side. So for example, anxiety, a lot of people do see it as a negative thing. Anxiety is not negative. Anxiety makes you very attention to detail because you overthink worst case scenarios. That's really good when you're planning things out, because if you're someone who's not attention to detail and you don't consider the worst case scenario, then you might be vulnerable and put yourself in harm's way. So anxiety can be a really powerful thing, being very planned out, being very methodical, being very situational or environmentally aware of things. Like when you're quite anxious, you're very observant of your environment and you're making sure you're looking for potential threats so you can stay safe. Again, a lot of benefits to that. So the thing with what I'm trying to get across as a general sense, so you can just learn yourself to start not being triggered by so many things. Like if something triggers you in a positive or a negative way, what I would any outcome I would love from this video is for you to now be conscious and be like, hold up, all I'm seeing in positives or all I'm seeing is negatives. I'm not seeing the other side. So say if something's really negative, you could ask yourself, what are the benefits of this? It's like people when they fail, they see that as a negative thing. No. Failure is normal. You're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. So the question you need to ask, what did this teach me? What am I learning because of this? What experience, tools, and knowledge am I gaining to make me better in the future? You can ask as many questions as you want because questions open the mind, statements close the mind. If you say it's terrible or if you say no, there's no positives, you're not going to see any. What are the positives of this? How is this making me stronger? How am I going to learn from this for next time? Etc., etc. So again, this is the video that I've really was considering not making because to teach it properly, there's a lot of science behind it, and I'm not going to be doing that on this video because you need to literally walk through it. So what I want to get out of this, guys, is everyone swings. Everyone has highs. Everyone has lows. It's like people, this is the thing I don't like about people that preach positive thinking and positive motivational, seminars and being just Mr. and Mrs. Positive, because that's a fantasy. No one's always positive. It's like if I was to go up to you and say, you're always positive, never negative, always happy, never sad, always optimistic, never negative. If I was to say you're always nice, you're never mean. If I was to say that about you, what would you say? Your intuition would say, bullshit, I'm not. Everyone's mean at points. Everyone's sad at points. Everyone's nice in moments. Like everyone is positive and negative. So what I would love to teach from this is if you're someone who struggles to see both sides, it's going to take you a long time to come up or down from your emotional swings. It's like you might know people who get really, really happy, really, really extreme with their emotions. They're really over the top happy, excited, etc. But they have these really big swings. Like you can see the arrow from one side to the other. It's a long distance. So they have these really high highs, but they have these really low lows. Why? Because they're taking a while, hindsight, they're taking days, weeks, months, years, decades to see the beautiful side of what happened. Because remember, what happened has happened and couldn't have happened any other way because it didn't. Play that back again. What happened and couldn't have happened any other way because it didn't. What happened was perfect because it was meant to happen because it did happen. So if you've got all these negative or positive, because you could be either side with this, and you're not seeing the other side to the equation, you're going to be only seeing half of it, and your life and your mind is always looking to balance things out. It's homeostasis. It always wants to bring back things to be equal. So until you learn to balance things out, they're going to continuously pop up. They're going to trigger you. They're going to affect you. They're going to hurt you. They're going to, I guess, give you pain until you learn the lesson. So where I was getting at with that, guys, is if right now you have really high highs, really low lows, is because you're not learning to see both sides of things faster. Because will you always have highs and always have lows? Yes, you will. But as you learn to balance things out, balance out things from your past, balance out traumas that you've been through. And again, guys, and I'm saying this with no disrespect, some of this is hard. Like for you to go through and balance out really hard, tough, painful experiences that you've been through, it's difficult. It's like, and I have worked through people with this, people with anxiety, people with depression, people suicidal, people that have been raped, people that have been abused, people that have been through extreme levels of pain. And to be able to go through that event and find the negatives that they've already got, and then to find the positive of that, to allow them to see why that happened, how it happened, and the benefits and the beautiful side of what happened, it's so powerful. But it's hard to hear that if you're still working through it yourself. So again, I say that in no disrespectful way. If you're still working through your own stuff, I'm just here to say there is a way to work through it. And if you need any help, if you need any support, if you need any love, send me a message, send me a comment below. I'm happy to work through this with you. I do this out of passion. I love this stuff. So what I'm getting at, guys, is the faster you learn to balance things, the faster you can learn to see both sides and not be super positive and only see the ups and don't see the downs, or the other way, only see the downs, not see the ups. The quicker you can learn to see both sides of things, is the faster you will have those swings and the littler they will be. So for example, say you're someone who takes a long time right now. You see all the positives, none of the negatives, but eventually life will slap you across the face and teach you and get you into that swing. You will continue to have these huge highs and huge lows. But when you start to do this, when you start to see the positives and the negatives closer with more hindsight, literally to the moment it happens, things will still trigger you, but very, very little in comparison to what they are now. Like I still have highs and downs. I had like last I think Friday, I had a really down Friday. Like Friday morning, I think I was really, really down, but I didn't stay there. Because again, if you're feeling down or you're feeling lost, you're feeling unmotivated, unsatisfied, etc., that's feedback that something needs to be balanced out, or something is not working right, or something you maybe not be living on your values, might be subordinating to someone else's values based on the other videos that you've done in this series. So again, I was honestly trying to weigh up how to really tackle this video and how to go through this for you guys in a really beneficial way. But what I really want you guys to just really understand, there's positives and negatives to everything. If you're stressed, if you're going through pain, if you anything, there's always the opposing side. We don't live in polarity, we live in duality. There's always a pro to a con. There's always a con to a pro. So what I would love to do, guys, for you guys, just moving forward, there's no real exercise or workout PDF for this video. All I guys want you to understand, for every negative, there's a positive. For every positive, there's a negative. And the faster you learn to teach that and understand that and do that day to day, the less volatile your life will be, the less swings and dips and peaks and troughs that your life will be. And you'll still have them, but there'll be these little swings here instead of these huge swings that you're having up here. And this, it has completely transformed my life, literally. And this sounds really ironic, it sounds weird, it sounds silly, but when things go wrong or problems pop up, I literally, in that moment in my head, I'm looking for the lesson, I'm looking for the positive, I'm looking for what is this teaching me. Like COVID-19 for a lot of business owners, a lot of people in general, very, very painful. A lot of stuff's going on there. Like in Queensland, where I'm from, on the Gold Coast, we had a 1 week shutdown recently. And when it happened, I freaked out a bit. I heard about it. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to, like, it's going to affect the business. How are we going to afford the wages, the landlord, the rent, how am we going to get through this, X, Y, Z? And then I make sure I slowed it all down, started to breathe, regulated my emotions. And I started to ask myself, okay, what is the benefits of this? What is this teaching me? What opportunities is this giving me that I haven't had previous? Is this going to teach me skills and knowledge is going to help me long term? Because if I can get myself through this, which is a pretty hard period for a lot of business owners, is this going to give me the strength and the mental psychology and the mental, I guess, toughness and grit to get through this and get through the times that aren't as hard? Absolutely. So I started to see the other side of what I was looking at, because I was only looking at the negatives. Oh my God, how are we going to get past this? How are we going to afford the rent? How are we going to afford the wages? How are we going to afford all this? And I only saw the negatives. That's why I felt emotional. That's why I was triggered. So I needed to ask myself better questions. What is this teaching me? How is this making me stronger? How is this making me wiser? What am I learning from this? What skills, knowledge, tools, and experience that this has given me that will make my life stronger moving forward? Questions along the lines of that, because I can guarantee you, and if you right now disagree, so how is there any benefits to this? How is it this has scarred me forever and there's no such thing as a benefit to this? If you're in that position, have a chat with me. I will spend the time. I'll work through that with you. Why? Because you've spent 16 minutes on this video with me. I'm willing to take the time to help you with that if you don't believe this. Why? Because I want to help you. I want to help you. I did this recently with a lady who was sexually abused, raped a few months ago, and we went through this process. We went through the benefits, and that is really, really hard to hear for some people. Like, and I don't, by the way, I don't just jump straight into the benefits. We work through it. We make sure she feels safe. We make sure we've given context. We make sure we've walked through some things before we get up to this point. But we work through this, and honestly, we came up with 47 benefits of this. And by the end of it, sounds weird, sounds silly. Wow, I'm so grateful this happened. I needed this to happen to learn these lessons, because I needed to learn these lessons because I've been doing this for 10 years. So because you might have heard this quote as well, the greater the pain, the greater the awakening. However, the awakening, the lessons, and the teachings are only there if you're looking for them, if you're asking yourself the right questions with the right focus, controlling these emotions. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this video. This is a shorter one, but it's a deeper one. If you need to watch this back again, watch this back again. Send me a message. This was the one that I really wanted to hopefully land. Even if it only lands a little bit, maybe I just planted a seed that will sprout later on. But this lesson of this video is incredible, because things that trigger you from now on, what I would love is everything that triggers you. All you'll then is being conscious of that emotional trigger, the pendulum swinging up or down, positive or negative. And I want you to catch yourself and ask yourself, what am I not seeing right now? What are the positives or what are the negatives of this that I'm not conscious of right now? What is this teaching me? How is this making me better? How can I see what I'm not seeing? And start to literally, in moments as things are happening, you're balancing these out. So you don't have to take 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years for hindsight to click in and to work. You can do this literally within the moments of these things happening. That's it for this video, guys. This was the hardest one that I'm going to film in this series so far. I hope it made sense. If you need to watch it back, watch it back. If you need any help, send me a message, comment below, contact me on any of my socials, and I will send you, I'll get back to you. I'll make sure of that. If you can do me a favor, like the video, comment on the video, share the video. I hope this helped out. I hope this added some value to you. Have an epic day. I'll chat to you soon.